And again, I only just started this. I worked on it Saturday night for a little while. I worked on it last night for a little bit, I can't even talk. Oh my gosh. Hello, my name is Michelle and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio Podcast. Today is Monday, June 2nd, and this is episode number 51. Wow, we have made it to June. It is actually a decent day. The sun is kind of dipped in and out, but it is mild. It's mid-60s, and it's beautiful, actually. It's a kind of a typical June day here in Maine. I am excited to be here today. It's really only been 4 days, I think, since I recorded last, or 5 technically, I guess. So I don't have a whole lot in the way of knitting, but it was Fiber Frolic weekend, so I will more than make up for it in the yarn acquisition section. Actually, in fact, I'm going to do a whole Fiber Frolic section separate from my yarn on my yarn shelf section, because not only did I get stuff from Fiber Frolic, but actually the exact same day, my June Yarnables and my May Woolen Women Fiber Box both arrived. So I think I need to just dive in and get started. Let's start with the project that got the most work done, and that is my Knit It Down sweater. I am coming along. I have made it into the waist decreases. And here we go. So I don't know if you can see, but I made it. So right here, I did this much, all of that. And that was pretty much done in one session. My brother stopped by on Thursday night, actually, and while we were visiting, I was sitting and knitting, and he was here for a couple of hours, so I got a really great chunk done. I have 5 sets of decreases in all, and I want to say I did 2? Yeah, I've got 2 done, and there's decreases every 5 rows, so yeah. It's coming, it's coming. So yep, I'm gonna keep chugging away on this one. Again, the yarn here, I know I've talked a lot about it, but it is by, oh my gosh, I'm trying to blank, Wonderland Yarns in their Marianne base, and it is After the Storm is the colorway name on this one. And you can see I have a lot left. This is only my second skein. So I think I'm gonna have plenty to make this as long as I really want to make it. I have, let's see, 3 more sets of decreases, and that should almost take me to the ribbing, and it's a 4-inch ribbing section. So whatever that works out to. And then of course my sleeves. So I am very tickled with this one. I can't wait to have this one finished because I love the original sweater that it was modeled off of so much. So it's gonna be great to have a second one. And one that's a little newer and a little better shape, although the other one has held up really quite well, I have to say. All right, project number 2 is actually a brand new project that I started on a Saturday night when I got home from Fiber Frolic. I was super excited to really get going on this one. Before I talk about it though, I did my Bahama Advent wrap. I think I literally did 1 row back and forth. I didn't touch my Northeasterly blanket. And on my socks, I didn't touch my socks either. So again, but it's only been 4 days, and they were pretty busy days, as you'll see when I get into my day-to-day and all of that. So I'm not gonna worry about it, but I do have this one, and this, it's just a baby beginning, but it is a beginning. And that's all I have. But it is the start of my Skyline Tee, which is by Tori Yu. And again, so I started this on the 31st. I can show you my swatch though. I did swatch that, I think, after we talked last. And I'm loving these colors. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be this is gonna be a great project on this yarn. The yarn, let me show you. here it is, although it's knitting really quite close to what you see. You can probably almost see it in the knitting better than you can in the yarn. It is Yarn Over New York in the Times Square base, and it was Manhattan Henge, which was a Nitty City exclusive yarn. And this was a yarn that I bought a couple of years ago when I was visiting my daughter in New York City, and I loved the yarn, and I got the 2 skeins thinking, actually when I bought it, I was thinking I might do some sort of a shawl or something, but it's kind of sat there waiting for just the right project. And when I saw this tee by Tori, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be perfect. It's bright, and it's cheery, and it's sunny and springy, and just look how happy that is. I am super, super excited. So yeah, I haven't gotten very far. This is, you can actually see on the wrong side, it's a ribbing. And you do like saddle shoulders on either side, and then you pick up the stitches for the back, and then you pick up the stitches from the front off of these, if I remember correctly, and I only looked at it really, really quickly. And again, I only just started this. I worked on it Saturday night for a little while. I worked on it last night for a little bit, I can't even talk. Oh my gosh, for a little bit. There we go. So that is my current new project that I am very, very excited about. Right, the last project that I'm going to talk about in this section is a spinning project. And I finished my second bobbin of the bats that I was working on. Let me get out the first one. There's the first one that I had done way back a couple of years ago. So I've got the 2 of them. I think those are gonna go together really, really nicely. Get those plied up this week, hopefully. So it came from the wheel and the anvil is the vendor from whom I bought this, and she was at Fiber Frolic. She was there this year actually, but I got it 2 years ago. Yeah, here's the tag. So it's like got a lot of things in it. Wool, bamboo, silk, Angelina, Firestar, alpaca, and yak. Look at that. Can you see? It's a black marker, but can you see all those things that are in that? It is a crazy, crazy bat, but it's really quite cool. It's decently soft. I'll see once I get it plied up and washed and snapped, and how it fluffs up and what it does once I finish it. But I did end up ordering the electric eel wheel, which I actually ordered that last Wednesday, right after I recorded, I ordered it. So, and it actually came today when I walked in the door after school. It was sitting there in its box, and it's taunting me in the corner. But I'm really excited because I have time tonight to play with it. I wouldn't have had time tomorrow so much. And that's when it was originally projected to arrive. So it's a good thing. And I will talk about it next week. But I'm thinking that I'm gonna apply these onto that, because those bobbins hold 8 ounces. And these bobbins are, I would say it's probably about 2 ounces each, because I think these bobbins hold 3 ounces total. So the bats, I don't know if the weight was on these cards at all. I don't see anything, but as I recall, they were somewhere in the 2 ounce range. Anyway, but they'll ply together on those bobbins really nicely. So that is my plan. When I ordered the wheel, it came with some fiber that the woolery sent me just as a bonus. So I'm gonna play with that fiber first and get a feel for the wheel, and maybe make a couple of bobbins and then ply what I put on those bobbins, and then I'll ply this. But I'm hoping to do that and have this to show you next week for the next podcast. So that is what I have completed in my project bag. So I think I'm going to move into talking about Fiber Frolic. All right, so I did not do a separate Fiber Frolic vlog. I did not take any videos. I actually didn't even take any pictures. So I have absolutely nothing to show for this section other than my actual show and tell of the supplies or things that I bought. But I thought it would be fun to just talk a little bit about Fiber Frolic and my experience there. So it was a rainy day, unfortunately. Last year it was so gorgeous. And if you want to see what Fiber Frolic looks like, I did do a vlog last year. We'll try to remember to link it below in the show notes. But I kind of gave a lay of the land and what everything looked like. But this year rather, it was kind of rainy. It was actually very rainy. In the morning, it was really raining fairly heavily. But Mom and I looked ahead to the weather and we realized that the heaviest of the rain was gonna pull out by about noon. So we decided, instead of going straight to the Fiber Frolic, that we would drive up to Waterville, which is 20 or so minutes from where the Fiber Frolic is located, the Windsor Fairgrounds. And we would visit the Yard Goods store, or Yarn Goods store. So this Yard Goods was the original store. It's a fabric supply store, and they had a small yarn section. They have since expanded the yarn section, and they actually labeled that side of the business Yarn Goods, although I believe the website is still under Yard Goods, you know, just to be confusing. But anyway, Mom and I decided we would drive up there first and we would visit. We haven't seen the store. It's been quite a long time since we've gone up there, and we wanted to see what it looked like now that it was new and expanded. And oh my goodness, what a visit we had. The owner was such a hoot. Oh my goodness, she was so funny. Was so welcoming and brought us in and was giving us free things. She gave us each a tape measure and a 6-inch ruler, and we got like different papers. One was like a needle inventory, another one was like a sheet where we could keep track, or would tell us how much yarn to use for different projects. You know, I'm sure you've seen those kinds of charts. It's just one for your purse and one for your knitting bag. She gave us a class schedule. She gave us a free pattern. Like, she was just throwing things at us. Gave us a tour of the store, and that store, we will definitely be going back. There were yarn brands, I guess, and companies that I have never seen in person, that I've only heard of online and have never been able to see because they're located typically somewhere outside of New England, which means any of the local fiber festivals, or the local fiber festival that I've gone to, they're not represented, and not all of the local stores necessarily carry like all those different brands. So it was great to see some of those different yarn vendors. The one thing that I bought 3 things. So one thing I was super excited to buy, and she was like showing us all kinds of things, like, you need one of these, and this is great, and these are the best needles, and this is the most awesome sock yarn. But one thing that she pulled out that I actually was looking for, and I was so excited because I had in my head like, oh, if I see that, I'm totally gonna buy it. And there it was. She pulled it out and showed it to us. Was, I don't know how well you can see this, but it is by Twice Sheared Sheep. And it is a yarn gauge, quick yarn gauge. And so what you do is you lay this over your project and see how many stitches fit inside the boxes. Can you kind of visualize that? And so it's a real quick and easy way to see what your gauge is without having to sit there and literally count the stitches, because you just get to see what fits into the box. So I was super excited to find this. I'm like, oh yes, please give me one of those. So then the next thing that I bought, I was also excited to see, was yarn by Ruby and Roses. And I have heard a lot about Ruby and Roses from Nitty Natty. They're friends, actually. And I was very excited. I actually won a skein from Ruby and Roses when Nitty Natty had her 200th episode. She did it live. And I happened to be home from school that day recovering from surgery. And so I was able to watch it live, and she was doing questions, and I was the first one that immediately answered the question. She actually asked, the first question was when her podcast had started, and I had like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months before that, I had just started watching, and I actually had gone back to the very first one. So I knew right off the top of my head when her first episode was, because I was kind of tracking that. So it was kind of fun. So and that was the prize, was a sock set from Ruby and Roses. But I was excited to see some more of Addie's yarn and to be able to make a selection of my own. So this one here is her soft rose base, which is an 80-20, 85-15, excuse me. And the colorway name is Ready to Travel, but isn't it just gorgeous? Mom actually took the skein of the same color. And it is gonna be some sort of a neck thing, cowl, something or other. We only got the one skein, but it'll be plenty for that. And I definitely don't want it on my feet. It's way too pretty to be on my feet. It needs to be around the neck doing something. So that was super cool. And then the other yarn that I got was a little bundle of yarns from Emma's Yarn, and this is a bundle that was put together specifically to make the goat. It's not a really great picture. I will try to link the pattern in my show notes, but it is a cowl shawl thing. I can't remember if it's just a cowl or a shawl. Anyway, but 2 years ago, almost, or a year and a half ago, I saw this pattern. And I saw that Emma's Yarns had kits, and I very nearly ordered this exact kit of yarn, and I tucked myself out of it at that point in time. And then when I was looking at, because she had lots of Emma's Yarns, and when I was looking at it, this was one of the kits that she had, and I saw it was for this project, and it was one of the bundle that I had looked at. I'm like, oh yeah, it's serendipity. This one definitely needs to come home with me. So that is what I bought, and that again was from the yard goods store. I had it in my head when I was heading out that I was not really feeling a need to buy a whole lot of yarn, but I was going to allow myself some fiber indulgence because I knew I just ordered my electric eel, and I figured having some fun fiber would be a nice little treat. So I did pretty good. The only other skein of yarn that I bought when we got to Fiber Frolic was one other. I'll actually get to that. I'm not going to jump straight into that. So we finished with our visit there at Yard Goods. We went and had some lunch at Subway. It was still raining pretty good, but it was slowing down by the time we left Waterville, by the time we finished the lunch, which was about 12:30. And I don't think it really rained again when we got there. It was dry. Everything was damp. And even though it was rain, I will say this, it was raining, but it was about 60 degrees. So it wasn't terrible. 2 years ago, we did Fiber Frolic and it rained and it was like 40 degrees and it felt like winter. It was so cold, so cold. So this was downright pleasant in comparison to what we had 2 years ago. So then we headed over to Fiber Frolic, and I thought that I would show you. This was their logo poster, and then we had this little brochure that we got, which on the inside shows you a picture of the fairgrounds, and it just lists like so along the top you can see all of these and all of those, and then in this green section and then in this purple section are all the different vendors. So I don't know what that adds up to, but it's quite a few, really. I mean, for a small fairground, it doesn't take, at this point, Mom and I can go through it in a couple of hours. We got there around 1, and I would say by 3:15 we were pretty much done, and we didn't rush. We went around and we checked things out, and then we circled back to different places where we thought we wanted to get something, and then we were done and we left. So it's not where, like, they do have some workshops, so if you came to Maine and you wanted to spend a lot more time, you could. If it was a nice day, there would certainly be people doing spinning demonstrations. There's plenty of place to sit where you could knit and you could hang out. There are a handful of food vendors, not a ton. There's like 6 or 7 food vendors. but it's, so I know, like, compared to Maryland Sheep and Wool and Rhinebeck, like, I know it's not as big, but it's still decent for where we're at and what is going on. So, all right. So let me tell you, I'll tell you first, actually the first booth that we went to, let's go kind of in that order-ish. Let me get down to my, there we go. So we stopped at the Homespun Girls booth. Homespun Girls is based out of Belfast, maybe? I don't remember exactly. But they're the ones that I got yarn from that I did my Stephen West shawl last fall. And I did not get yarn because, again, I was not really in the yarn mode, although she always has a great sale on her yarn when she goes. But I did buy two things from her. First of all, she had these in these little tins, and it's just like the pearl strings. So like the barber cords. Aren't they fun? And they were only $5 for a 60-inch and two 30-inch cords. So I couldn't help myself. For $5, I love the color. I think they're super fun. I have another set and they're purple, and those are fun too, but if I want to do things different for $5, I thought it would be a fun little treat, and I do like to support her. And then she also had some soap, and I don't remember, oh, it says on it, perfect. See, I don't remember what it was made out of, but I got 2 bars of soap. So they look the same. One of them is almond, one of them is romance. And they are coconut oil, shea butter, and olive oil with water and essential oils and such. So I got a couple of bars of soap from her. And then just down from her was another soap vendor where I always get a bunch of soap. And that is Ledgeway Farm. And I'm gonna link all of these vendors down below. And I got, I think 3 bars. I have 3 bars in here, but this is what her soap is. And hers is goat's milk soap. I do know that for a fact. So one of these is oatmeal, I think, and the other 2 are, I don't remember what she calls it. But anyway, I got soap. So those are like my first 2 purchases, was a whole bunch of soap. I'm like, I'm doing good. Yeah, didn't really last. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the yarn, which I didn't buy basically kind of until the end, but then the rest of it is all fiber, so I'm gonna kind of keep it distinct. So the yarn that I bought is this skein here, and it is by Maine Yarn, or One Lupine. I never know which, like, it's in Ravelry under the One Lupine, but then when you look at the, so you can see the One Lupine down here on the bottom, when you look at the like, what stands out, it's the Maine Yarn and Fiber Supply. But it is their Katahdin base, which is a superwash merino wool. One of the 2 yarns that I did my Right Stuff shawl last summer, well, the 2 yarns came from One Lupine, but one of the 2 was Katahdin. And this colorway name is Botanical. It is a sport weight yarn. And again, so it's got these. It's a cream base with these kind of fun speckles in it. And she had a sample in her tent of the Katahdin Cowl, which is by Knitwise Designs. And I'm gonna pop that picture up in here. And so I specifically bought this yarn so I could make that project. So that is the plan. I don't know exactly when I am going to cast that on, hopefully sometime this summer. I'd like to do that and not have it linger, but I still have projects that I specifically bought yarn for when I went to Spa at the end of February, or March 1st, I guess it was, that I haven't cast on. They're all caked and I haven't even cast them on. So we'll see. But then again, on the other hand, school's about to come out. So that could happen. So that is what I bought this yarn for. Okay, now for all my fibery goodness. So the first bundle of fiber I bought was this one here. I don't know, can you see? It's got these different shades. I don't know if the tones are picking up. So there's 2 different greens, and then there are 3 different bundles of brown. There, can you see the difference there? So it totals 3.5 ounces. It's a merino alpaca, 50-50 merino alpaca blend. And it is by Four Hearts Farm, mainly fiber, so Four Hearts Farm. And I think this is gonna be a lot of fun to spin in a fractal, which I don't know that I have ever done a fractal, so I don't know if I'm going to explain it super well, but my understanding is what I will end up doing is I will split each color in half and spin half of each of the colors all the way down. And then I will split the other half in half and spin 1 through 5 and then 1 through 5 and then ply them together. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that that's how that works. So I think that will be a fun one, and probably one that I will almost certainly spin on my new wheel once I get that and I get comfortable with that. This will be a good one. All right, so that was thing 1. Fiber 2, or 2 and 3, I guess, because these were both from the same vendor. They are from Maine Fiber Workshop. So I have this bundle here, which is a 60% wool of some kind, 40% silk. The colorway is Profit. So, but it's got really some fun shades of blues and teal. There's even some bright green blips. I don't know if there's any in this section that I'm showing you, but a little bit of pink here and there. So there's all kinds of different things in this one. Then the other fiber that I got from her is a blend of some kind of wool with something else, and I cannot remember if it was nylon or if it was silk, but it is just super pretty. My mom and I both ended up with this one here. So it's a grayish base with just lots and lots of different fun colors. So that will be a fun spin as well. And then I got 2 more. Told you I was getting fiber. And these 2 were also from the same vendor. Ooh. It went flying. There we go. And this vendor is Mrs. Hartman's Farmhouse Market. I love the name. Again, I will have links. And I got this one, which was just so bright and cheery. I had to. It was just, I couldn't walk away. I have no idea what I'll do with it. I feel like I have other fiber that is bright yellow like this, but there's just something about it that is just so happy. I don't know, maybe I'll need to save it for this winter when it's so cold and gross. This is a Rambouillet, by the way, 100% Rambouillet, as is this one here, which was the first one that I saw, and this is New Age Plaid, is this one. So this one has lots of fun colors in it. I will probably spin this one end to end, like split it in half right down the middle and just make a 2-ply, or maybe I'll make a 3-ply. I do like making 3-plies because it makes for a really nice round yarn. So if I split it in thirds and just ply them together, that's probably what I'll do with this one. But at any rate, those were the 2 I got from her. And then the last thing I got from that same person is a candle. So she had all these candles out. This is the one that I got, just plain and simple. There's actually nothing, no label on it, but it was funny because I saw some on part of her table, and then she had, I think, a double booth. So on one end is where I had seen the fiber and I made those selections, and I walked across to where she had set up her cash register, and I had seen some candles on the other side where the fiber was, and I had smelled them, like, oh, those actually smell really, really good. And so when I was cashing out, there were some more. I'm like, oh, Mom, did you see these candles? They smell really good. And I handed her one to smell, and the lady said, oh, if you like the candles, and they were $20 each, she says, I actually have a box of candles that are not labeled, and I'm selling those for $10 each. If you're interested, I can get the box out. And Mom and I both at the same time were like, get out the box. So she had, I think, 5 of them left, and this one, I think, is a rose scent. Mom took one that was like pine that smelled really, really good, and a great pine scent, and we both ended up with a candle. So that is kind of fun and will be a nice one to burn. I had gotten rid of all of my candles at one point in time, and now I'm slowly getting this fairly sizable acquisition of candles, so I need to start burning them. The last thing that I'm going to show you that I got at Fiber Frolic is I went over to the Hauteknit Yarns booth, and I got myself another project bag. Oh my gosh, I love this. I think it's just so fun. The geometric patterns, it's so bright and so cheerful. And so I have my Skyline Tee, look at, and it's got this fun polka dot, like, yeah, super cute. So that was my experience at Fiber Frolic. It was a great one. And we really enjoyed ourselves, which we were really afraid it was going to be a washout when we were looking at the weather, and it was a little disappointing to think that it might not be as nice as we would hope it would be, but it turned out to be not so bad. So in addition to all of those other fantastic things that I came away with this weekend, I also received my monthly yarns, both from Yarnables, as well as my new Woolen Woman Fiber Fox, which I just subscribed to. So they both came on the same day. My husband texted me pictures of the packaging while I was away. I'm like, oh, fun, fun. So let's talk about the Yarnables yarn first. I am going to show these off. This is the June box, and it is only June 2nd as I am recording this, and it is dropping on June 5th, I think, right? Whatever Thursday is. So if you have not yet received your Yarnables box, this is your spoiler warning. So, oh, I should pull up the card because I don't include it in the box anymore, which actually is really great. It's a good money saver, a cost-effective way to do it, and I am totally okay with that. But it means I don't have it. Here it is. Meant to pull this up ahead of time. Okay. Cue the Confetti is the name of the yarn. Yarnable is turning 6. So it's a happy birthday celebration. So the one thing we got here is flossy cotton candy. That could be kind of fun. We got a really super cute stitch marker, a progress keeper, and a happy birthday pop-up sponge, which is super fun. All right, and then the yarn, are you ready? Doesn't it just look like confetti? Oh, it's so fun. Actually, I have a really good idea for this project that just popped in my head that I think is gonna work really great. And I'm gonna hold that thought to myself at this moment, but Cue the Confetti is the name. They've also updated their logo, which is kind of fun. Change things up for their 6th. Oh, look at that. It was trying to focus on the eyes of the of the sheep. All right, so that is my Yarnables yarn. Next, I have my Woolen Woman Fiber box. So this is the May box. The June box you can see right online, and the subscription, you can join the subscription until they mail around the 15th. I want to say the 7th or the 9th. I did not look that up, I am sorry. But if you are seeing this in pretty short order and you are interested in getting in on the June mailing, then you can still do that. So Doodlebug Den, that is on the inside of the box. And it says, where stitches dance among the blades of grass and creativity flutters like wings through a meadow of blooms. This May, a woolen yarn box is shrinking you and your yarny goodies down teeny tiny so you can get your jitterbug on with the other beautiful summer bugs. So, I'm gonna save the yarn for last. I'm gonna make you wait. But there, I got the full box. So I have lots of fun goodies in this box. Start with the Ladybugs and Blooms candle. So I have another candle. This is a citrus, lemongrass, and lilac. It's a hand-poured soy wax candle. And it smells so good, you guys. Like, lilacs are my absolute favorite flower. They were my dad's favorite flower, and I love lilacs. And as much as I love fresh lilacs though, and I love during lilac season to go and just bury my head in them and inhale like that heady lilac smell, I have never found a lilac scent that to me seemed to capture the essence of that lilac smell. This is darn close. This is about as close as I've ever gotten, including the headiness that you get. Oh my goodness. I just want to sit here and smell this candle all day long. Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm going to have a hard time burning it because I'm not going to want it to go away, but I'll do it a little bit, I promise. Okay, then I have a Lanolin Lotion Bar Bug Balm. Sweet Summer Grass is the name. Super fun. It came with this stick here, which you can put a pattern on the inside and it helps you to mark your row. So like if I put the postcard in here, so yeah, you could have that and then just use that to keep track of where your pattern is. You're gonna wanna, it falls out, so it would be something you would wanna keep flat. I got these really super cute Sam's Tiny Trinket. So this is a sisters, they're twins who work on these boxes, and Sam does the trinkets, the stitch markers, which are super cute. So a little ladybug and a little flower. And if I'm not mistaken, I think their mom might do the backs, but I could be wrong. But there's this Chinese knot bag, I think is what it's called, right? Where you pull that in. Is that not the cutest thing ever? Oh my goodness, I love it so much. This was the whole reason. This bag right here was the whole reason that I subscribed. Yeah. But then I also saw the June box, which is aquatic or like fish, sea themed, and I have a saltwater fish tank like right over there. So then I saw that one. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good time for me to join. All right, are you ready for the yarn? Here it is. So you get a full skein, 100-gram skein, and then a little 20-gram mini. It is the Doodlebug Den. It is an 80-20 superwash merino nylon. The 100-gram skein has 400 yards. So the 20-gram skein would be, what, 80-something yards? Is that what that would work out to? I think so. So yeah, super, super cute. This would actually, I could see this in a pair of socks. That would be really fun. So maybe that'll be what that becomes. Wow, so that is all of the acquisitions, not counting the electric eel spinning wheel that is sitting across the room over there looking at me and just waiting for me to cut into that box. Well, after all of that explanation of my weekend, my day-to-day section is probably going to be pretty short because I don't have a whole lot to say. Thursday was really quiet. Friday was quiet during the workday, but then Friday night we held our 6th grade dance and 6th grade parent night, which went really, really well. It's 6 to 7:30, so it's not super long. And we have the 6th grade kids from all the elementary schools come in, and we have a dance. The principals and staff, 6th grade staff, kind of supervise it, while we meaning myself, the principal, and the assistant principal, take the parents and we meet with them and start to introduce ourselves to them, introduce the middle school to them, what they can expect over the next couple of years working with us. So that went really, really well. We had some great questions, and yeah, it was really great to start to get to know those families. Saturday, of course, was Fiber Frolic, and then Sunday, we just had lots of errands, which was yesterday. We had to do a thorough cleaning of the fish tank because it had been a couple of weeks. I didn't do it last weekend because I was gone. And then we were preparing today to receive, we had a delivery of some new bedroom furniture. We are testing out furniture. It's a really long story. But at any rate, the short version is we're setting up a new guest room, but we also need to replace our personal bedroom furniture. So we're using this furniture that ultimately will go in the guest room, but we're gonna use it first. So we had to empty out the bedroom area. We actually slept with the mattresses directly on the floor last night. So that just took a lot of time to take the bed apart, haul it out, and then vacuum, oh my gosh, the dust bunnies that were underneath that bed. It's a king size bed. We hadn't moved it, and I don't even know how long. I think I could have spun the dust bunnies that were underneath that bed. They were so thick. So it was really good to give that room a really thorough cleaning and vacuum, and so we did that yesterday, and then ended up having to run out and get some new sheets because we're going from a king size to a queen size, which is part of the reason why we're testing the furniture, because we're trying to decide if we want to go down to a queen size or if we want to, when we buy one for ourselves, go back to the king size. At any rate, so I had to go get some sheets. So finally at 7:30, I had time to sit yesterday. So yeah, that was yesterday. And then today was good, actually, considering that we are in the home stretch. There are, well, as of today, 10 days, or 9.5 really, because the last day is a half day, 9.5 days of school left. We had a really great day. The kids were much better balanced today than they were last week. My goodness, coming off of the long weekend, they were just nuts. It was crazy. So yeah, things went really, really well, really smoothly. And I had a tour with a family today for a student who will probably be joining us next year. I got another tour tomorrow. It's that kind of the time of the year where we're starting to have kids transferring in from other districts who are not currently in the Auburn system, and so families like to come in and give them the opportunity to see the school, and I'm really happy to do that. So that was pretty much the gist of it. So short and sweet, this section of my podcast this week. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for joining me. I will have links below in the show notes of everything that I have talked about, all of the vendors that I saw and talked about, my Woolen Woman fiber box, all of it, all the things I will have links to. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please do hit the like button or subscribe so you know when I have posted new content. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram, although I'm very sporadic in my Instagram posting, but you can find me there as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. Please also feel free to send me an email at any time at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. With that, I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting.